Hello everyone, this is Fantasy Recapped. In this video, I'm going to explain the Korean drama named Island. In this story, the countdown to the end of the world has begun. An old priest calls his disciple Johan to go to Jeju Island, South Korea, to protect the savior that the church has just found. The savior in her past life was killed by an immortal man, and the church does not allow the tragedy to repeat itself. At this moment, the evil force that the church fears has gradually awakened on Jeju Island, as the stone statues used to seal lust demons suddenly collapse. A couple taking wedding photos here are instantly devoured by the lust demons. The groom transforms into an ugly-looking demon, and the photographer in charge of taking pictures becomes his food. Just then, a mysterious man, Van, suddenly appears, easily killing the lust demon. Unfortunately, the bride is nowhere to be seen. As night falls, Miho, the only heiress to the Daehan group, has just landed on the island, feeling that she gets hit by an invisible force. Recently, she has been involved in an inheritance dispute. Plagued by her aunt, she is now the center of negative news, so she has to hide on Jeju Island to avoid the limelight. Unexpectedly, just after landing on the island, she bumps into the bride who is possessed by a lust demon. The bride chases Miho, who tries to escape and hides in a truck. However, the demon bride is very powerful, and it only takes her a few seconds to destroy the vehicle. At the critical moment, Van rushes over, directly killing the bride. Now she can reunite with the groom in hell. As Miho meets Van's gaze, she is once again knocked into her chest by a mysterious force and passes out. When she wakes up, her henchman secretary Kong and butler Chong are already by her side. They believe Miho just had a nightmare after fainting, because there were no demons or people around when they found her. Nonetheless, it is not a nightmare, but a cause and effect entanglement that has lasted for many years. Many years ago, Van's village was attacked by lust demons, and he was the only survivor. At that time, there was a temple dedicated to fighting lust demons, and the leader of the temple, Jonggryong, had a premonition that one day the lust demons would break through the seal, so he began to experiment with the blood of lust demons, turning the rescued children into half-demon with super combat power in the hope that these children will finally stop the plans of lust demons. In the end, only 2 children survived. One is the immortal one Van, and the other child is named Gungtan. They were forced to undergo brutal training, and during the process, the 2 boys met Miho's previous life, Wanjong. Back in the modern time, as Miho discovers that her henchman secretary Kong is actually an undercover agent sent by her aunt, she leaves in anger while Secretary Kong stands still. However, Miho soon sees Secretary Kong appearing directly in front of her. Right now, he has been possessed by a lust demon. Once again, Van, like Miho's bodyguard, appears again to save her. I got to mention a past event here. When the savior Wanjong could not bear to see Van and Gungtan receive such inhuman training, she secretly tried to release them, but got bitten by the vigilant Van. It wasn't until Wanjong actually brought them back to their freedom that Van let down his guard and was grateful to her. However, Wanjong lost too much blood because of the bite, so Van had to take her back for treatment. Jonggryong was furious at the escape of the 2 boys, and severely punished them. Later, Wanjong prepared to get further practice somewhere else to break through her bottleneck, and before leaving, she promised Van and Gungtan that she would come back to rescue them after she completed her studies. Though the past ended, Wanjong's reincarnation Miho is still entangled with Van. Van is a half-demon, plus he has mastered ancient spells, so he instantly kills the possessed secretary. Feared, Miho asks Van for his identity, but instead of giving her the answer, Van just warns her that she will definitely die if she leaves the island. Miho doesn't heed Van's warning, intending to leave here tonight by air. Meanwhile, a mysterious man is irrigating the stone statue with his blood, attaching strange spells to help the demon break through the seal. Miho has just arrived at the airport when she encounters a security guard possessed by a lust demon. Miho quickly gets in a car and tries to escape, but the security guard can actually chase the car and grab it because his strength has been greatly enhanced after being possessed by a lust demon. In just 2 episodes, Van saves Miho for the 3rd time, and there seems to be a strange connection between them. He tells Miho that there is no point in escaping, as the lust demons can always find her wherever she goes. It is her fate to stay on the island and solve the problem, which is the only way to get rid of the demons. Miho's mind is still filled with doubts, but Van, who never explains things clearly, has disappeared again. Another male protagonist, Johan, arrives on the island at dawn and finds traces of lust demons in the several locations where Miho encountered accidents. Butler Chong is also a priest, and he will then help Johan stay to protect Miho as his nephew. In addition to this mission, Johan is also interested in the man who once killed the savior. As it gets late, Van visits Miho's residence, and happens to deal with another demon outside the door, which frightens Miho. She immediately offers to hire Van as a bodyguard with a high salary. Suddenly, Miho feels dizzy as the effect of the sleeping pills she just took for a good night's sleep is on. Seeing her frown, Van's heart has finally relented and he stays to protect her. Late at night, Van feels complicated when he sees the scar on Miho's chest. It was Van who left this fatal wound on Wanzhong's chest, but he didn't expect that after her reincarnation, the scar would be still there. After a good night's sleep, Miho's mental condition gets better. When she introduces Butler Chong to the new bodyguard Van, Chong has a slight change on his face because he has recognized the identity of Van at first glance. After that, Miho starts to work in the school on Jeju Island because she caused too much trouble before and has to improve her image. Unexpectedly, she runs into bigger trouble on her first day of work. A girl named Yom Ji reports to Miho that her friend Su Ryan has been absent from school for days because of her boyfriend Jong Jun's harassment. Teachers never care about things happening outside the school, while the police will complicate it. Yom Ji heard that Miho likes to help others, so she comes to ask this special teacher for help. However, Miho has run out of her energy after experiencing the bizarre accidents of the past few days, so she just asks Yom Ji to call the police. Miho could never expect that her negligence would directly lead to the birth of a demon king. At night, we see Su Ryan run to the forest, because she hears from Yom Ji that there is a sacred tree here that can help humans fulfill their wishes. She is so tormented by Jong Jun that she has to come to the sacred tree for help. At this moment, Miho has not yet awakened the power of Wanzhong, and is completely unaware that there is an evil force in the valley growing rapidly. Butler Chong introduces his priest nephew to Miho. She warmly welcomes Johan to some drinks and then gets drunk. Later that day, Johan meets Van, who killed the savior. Priests and demons are naturally opposed, so the two are hostile to each other when they first meet. Then, an accident diverts their attention, with Van rushing to the forest alone. Immediately afterwards, Miho sees Yom Ji at school. Anxious, Yom Ji explains to her that Su Ryan has become quite strange after going to the forest late at night to worship the sacred tree. Hearing this, Miho is so worried that she takes Johan to Su Ryan's house. Johan is very experienced in exorcism, and after observation, he concludes that Su Ryan is possessed by a lust demon. Just as Johan is taking out his equipment to start the exorcism, he and Miho surprisingly appear deep in the forest. All this is the plot of the white-haired man, Gungton, who uses the enchantment to trap Van in the forest to stop him from saving Miho. Miho and Johan have just been teleported into the forest when they see Su Ryan merge with a huge tree and become a monster. The girl keeps repeating that she wants revenge. Johan tries to launch an attack but gets caught by the vine and turns to Miho, who is supposed to be protected by him. However, with her power not yet awakened, Miho is just an ordinary person now. At this time, Van finally breaks through the enchantment and rushes to aid. The enemy this time is quite powerful, and even Van can't easily defeat her. The big tree merged with Su Ryan as the sacred tree. Van switches to the demon form to gain an increase in strength, finally suppressing his opponent slightly, while Miho seizes the chance to climb onto the sacred tree, trying to persuade Su Ryan, whose consciousness is gradually blurred. Miho regrets that she didn't help Su Ryan in the first place. As her sincerity awakens Su Ryan's consciousness, the sacred tree suddenly loses control and tries to forcibly devour Su Ryan. Miho is the savior after all. At the critical moment, her body erupts with a blinding light, and she defeats the sacred tree with this powerful force. Su Ryan is rescued. At the cost of Miho's excessive overdraft, she passes out directly, and when she wakes up, she is already in the hospital. Miho learns the key to the accident from Van. It was led by the lust demon, who polluted the sacred tree and caused it to lose control. The real target of the demon is not Su Ryan but Miho. Scared and confused by Van's explanation, Miho decides to talk with Johan about it. She has been haunted by demons, while coincidentally there are so many exorcists around her. Everything is getting more bizarre as she thinks more about it. Johan confesses that he and Butler Chong belong to the church, and they are here to protect Miho because of her special identity. Right now, Miho may be still no match for lust demons, but her family background allows her to be able to deal with humans easily. Miho uses her connections to dig up a lot of crimes by Jong Jun. However, Jong Jun's father is very powerful on Jeju Island, and has solved many troubles for his son before, so Jong Jun is only sentenced for 3 years even though Miho has made efforts on punishing him hard. Miho is very dissatisfied with the result, and Van also looks displeased. That night, Van goes to the sacred tree. As a half-demon, he does not limit himself to solving problems using only human methods. Commissioned by Van, the sacred tree finds Jong Jun. The bastard is planning revenge against Su Ryan and Miho while getting brutally killed in the next second. Van's special abilities and identity keep Johan wary, and the old priest once told him that Miho was killed by Van in her previous life. Hence, Johan, out of safety concerns for Miho, leads Van into a trap he has laid out in advance and interrogates Van if his approach to Miho has evil intentions. Van is so angry that he uses the power of demons to break through the bondage, turning the tide and choking Johan by the neck in an instant. When Miho hears the movement and rushes in, Van seems to have lost his mind. He leaves Johan and runs to Miho, and the scene of killing Miho in the previous life is about to be repeated. At the last moment, Van puts his hand on Miho's chest to block his blow. Though Van's demonic state is then lifted, he is really remorseful over his loss of control, and leaves in a hurry. Van's struggle makes Miho believe that he is not evil, so she approaches Van to heal him. But Van is afraid that he will lose his mind and hurt Miho again, so he tries to distance himself from her. Frustrated, Miho can only go back home but overhears Johan calling someone. She inquires Butler Chong about it, and learns that Johan is looking for his brother Chan He, who was separated from him when they were little. Miho uses her family connections to help Johan find the orphanage they used to stay at, but unfortunately, it has long been closed out of being unlicensed. That night, Miho's best friend called her. Since she is about to get married, she invites Miho to be her bridesmaid, and asks her fiancé to send Miho her handmade corsage. Unfortunately, the wedding will never come, because her fiancé gets killed by Gungtan on the way. Gungtan even moves the body near Miho's home, and when Miho sees it, she immediately breaks down. Meanwhile, Johan finally finds his elder brother Chan He based on the clues that Miho provided. They talk a lot in the cramped cabin where Chan He has been staying. They were adopted by a foreign couple whose real purpose was to transplant the brother's organs to their sick kid. After that, they got abandoned, and have been separated since then. Johan brings Chan He back and introduces him to Miho, but she is still so saddened by the death of her friend's fiancé that she can't celebrate Johan's reunion with his brother. Late at night, Miho masks her crying with the sound of the shower, completely unaware that Chan He is approaching quickly. Chan He suddenly pulls the door open, only to find that the enchantment here cannot be broken. All this is due to Van, who is very wary of every strange face that appears around Miho, so he specially arranged the enchantment. With Chan He's evil identity exposed, he falls into a fierce battle with Van. Chan He's change comes from the white-haired man Gungtan, who unleashed the evil demon to delude Chan He into murdering humans everywhere and seizing their organs to make up for his mutilated body. At this moment, Johan hears the movement and rushes in. His protection of his brother affects Van's attack, and thus Chan He seizes the opportunity to escape. However, Van, as a natural hunter, still finds Chan He with his tracking ability. When Gungtan suddenly appears, Van was almost invincible before this, but now he is completely crushed by Gungtan. Gungtan leaves Van with two choices: either give up love and join forces with him, or continue to protect Miho and eventually die at his hands. Meanwhile, Miho comes out of the shower shocked. Her bedroom seemed to be renovated, and when she tries asking Johan what happened, Johan can spare no attention to answer her questions since he is trying to figure out a way to save his brother. Confused, Miho starts to ask around. In the end, she bumps into an old lady Jiam Baek-ju who has lived for hundreds of years. She is considered to be the master of Wanjong, Miho's previous life, and Bu Yom-ji who has shown up as her adopted orphan. Jiam Baek-ju and Van also have some connections, so she is a relatively important character in this play. She tells Miho that all the lust demons in this world are sealed on Jeju Island, and that the mission of the savior is to repair the enchantment and cut off the way demons invade the world. Miho didn't expect herself to have such an important mission. Before she can adjust her mood, Johan comes to her, hoping she can turn Chan He back into a human just like how she saved Su Ryan. In fact, this is a conspiracy by Gungtan. Just when Miho approaches Chan He, Johan's restriction on Chan He is forcibly lifted. It turns out that he has been deliberately showing weakness to get his prey to appear. Unable to accept that the world will be destructed if Miho dies, Johan eventually kills Chan He though suffering intense grief. Before breathing his last, Chan He hears Johan call him brother for the last time, and then his tragic life finally ends. However, the death of Chan He does not mean the end of the nightmare. There is an endless backup force on Gungtan's side, and countless people in the secret stronghold are bowing and scraping to him. Among them, a girl, Yom-ji, the granddaughter of Jiam Baek-ju, is calling him uncle. Everything started 9 years ago, when Gungtan had just woken up from the seal due to an accident. A lot of white-clothed people appeared in front of him. There was a leader among them, and let's call him the sect master. The sect master had such great power that even Gungtan was completely unable to approach him. In addition, the mysterious leader was well aware of Gungtan's past, and his account directly touched on the dark memories that Gungtan never wanted to remember. Hundreds of years ago, the savior Wanzhong was unable to draw a seal against demons. In order to train super soldiers to deal with the demons, the leader of the temple, Zhonggriang, turned Van and Gungtan into half-demons. In the environment of injustice, Gungtan's personality gradually twisted. When he carried out his missions to kill the demons, he often killed the humans present to vent his anger. Van's persuasion was completely useless, and the once close brothers gradually became estranged. Van could only hope that after Wanzhong drew the enchantment that seals the demons, Zhonggriang would set them free. Nonetheless, as the enchantment was about to be completed, Zhonggriang tricked Van and Gungtan into a trap ready to burn them. Zhonggriang believed that after Wanzhong sealed all the lust demons, the biggest threats in the world were Van and Gungtan, the half-demons. Gungtan was enraged, killing Zhonggriang and all his disciples, while Van was more rational. When he saw that Gungtan was going to kill Wanzhong, he immediately flew forward to attack Gungtan, who, however, reacted quickly and pushed Wanzhong out to block the attack. It was too late for Van to stop the attack, resulting in killing Wanzhong. Before her death, Wanzhong sealed Gungtan with her last strength. As the sect master talked about Gungtan's dark past, he also mentioned a stunning fact that despite his middle-aged appearance, he was at least a few hundred years old, and it was also he who controlled Zhonggriang to train half-demons to kill lust demons while his real purpose was to kill Wanzhong. Before Gungtan could ask for more details, the sect master performed a series of strange acts, first cutting off Gungtan's hand and then pouring an unknown liquid into the ground. Suddenly, the land cracked, and countless black mist gushed out, enveloping Gungtan. The next moment his hand was restored to its original state, and thus he gained even more power. The sect master then told Gungtan that he had the plan to make people immortal. He and his followers, as well as Gungtan, were the chosen ones, and he needed Gungtan's help to create that perfect world. Gungtan had little interest in the sect master's immortal plan, and the only thing they have in common was that they both wanted to kill Wanzhong, which led to their later alliance. Let's go back to the present when Miho, the reincarnation of Wanzhong, finally realizes that she can't change her fate after experiencing the murder of her best friend's fiancé. Otherwise, more people will be implicated. Therefore, she finds Jiam Baek-ju, expressing her decision to continue Wanzhong's unfinished mission to seal the demons. Seeing her firm look, Jiam Baek-ju agrees to help her. Miho then begins her long practice, and that's when Gungtan, who has been entangled with her since her previous life, appears. Surprised by how quickly Miho's practice progresses, Gungtan is reminded of how he was sealed by Wanzhong, and he finally decides to retreat. But before he leaves, he releases a very special demon, which is not good at attacking, but specialized in controlling people's minds, and Gungtan prepares a deadly trap for Miho. The next day, Miho finds that Su Ryan has fallen to her death. She can't believe it because Su Ryan was clearly getting better. As she is checking the surveillance to find out the cause of Su Ryan's death, the lust demon released by Gungtan takes the opportunity to attack Miho's mind, causing her to fall into self-blame for killing people around her. Seeing that Miho is about to commit suicide, Johan and Butler Chong arrive in time to save her. Meanwhile, Gungtan manages to control a large number of students with lust demons. The good news is that they have just been possessed and thus the demons can be expelled. Johan asks Butler Chong to use the radio to exorcise the demons, when Van also rushes over. With their work in unison, an enchantment is set up, finally saving a group of innocent students. After that, Van goes around to save possessed humans who are trying to commit suicide. Since the number of victims is large, Johan joins Van, while Miho is left with Butler Chong. At this time, the lust demon comes to her to drive a wedge between her and Butler Chong. Miho overhears a secret conversation between Butler Chong and Johan, realizing that Butler Chong was actually assigned by the church to stay by her side, with the ultimate goal to make her give up her body to Wanzhong to save the world. Feeling betrayed by her elder, Miho is so upset that she wants to end her life. Fortunately, Van rushes back and grabs her hand in time, and this special contact allows Miho to see Wanzhong's memories. She now completely understands the relationship between Wanzhong and Van killed Wanzhong by accident while he was trying to save her. These memories seem to illuminate Miho's dark heart, and she has never met someone who is willing to sacrifice his life to save her. Just then, Gungtan attacks again. Since Van is no match for Gungtan, he gets knocked off the cliff with Miho. Luckily, as protagonists, they are not allowed to die even if they fall off a cliff of tens of meters. Gungtan gradually loses patience after failing in murdering Miho over and over again. To vent his anger, he even tries to kill all his followers. Seeing this, Yeom-ji is scared and upset. When she was a child, Gungtan helped her kill her scumbag father, so she was grateful to him. However, Gongtan then not only killed her friend Su Ryan, but also became a complete madman. It seems the bond between them is coming to an end with Gongtan's loss of control. Gongtan lures Jiambek-ju over with Yeom-ji as a hostage, forcing her to open the portal to travel to a secret area on the island. Jiambek-ju has been guarding the seal against the demons for generations, but now Gongtan unleashes all the demons in order to deal with Miho. Then, Gongtan retaliates against Jiambek-ju for acquiescing in Zhongryong's training of him into a half-demon. Sensing the sudden evil odor on the island, Van quickly arranges an enchantment to protect Miho, while he follows it to find Gongtan's stronghold. Johan, who arrived first, has already been badly injured by Gongtan. He urges Van to find Jiambek-ju before falling into a coma. By the time Van finds Jiambek-ju, her life is counting down. The old lady, with her last breath, reveals to Van that Miho has a bead in her body, and when she died in her previous life, part of the bead fragment entered Van's body. If Van returns the fragment, Miho will awaken her power to seal the devil. But the price is that Van will lose his mind and become a complete demon without the suppression of the bead. Meanwhile, Miho sees her past life, Wanjong, who tells her the same thing as Jiambek-ju said to Van. Miho doesn't want to sacrifice Van, and under her questioning, Wanjong reveals another way, which is Miho burning her life to seal the devil. As Armageddon ensues, Van rushes to aid Miho and Bolter Chong against Gongtan's army of demons. With the special weapon that Bolter Chong has just brought to her, Miho manages to withstand the onslaught of demons. Johan also joins the battle at the critical moment. As the most outstanding exorcist in the church, he is very powerful both mentally and physically. Miho's companions drag down the demons and Gongtan, while she comes to the sealed land to lay out the enchantment. Just as she is about to sacrifice herself, Van follows and insists on giving her the fragment, because she is the savior who needs to continue solving the future crisis. In the end, Miho completes the seal, while Van, Gongtan, and the demons all disappear from the world. However, this is not the end yet. Though the sect master silently watches the seal completed, he is unwilling to have his plan fail, so he sends one of his followers to make trouble. The man finds Yeom-ji, who has fallen behind, and instantly controls her to be a puppet. Yeom-ji comes to a pile of rubble and digs up the weapons hidden inside. With the hint of a new round of threats, the first season ends here. I gotta say, there are really a lot of disasters in South Korea. Train to Busan brings a large number of zombies, and even worse now, the Gate of Hell happens to be inside South Korea. Once the gate opens, they will be the first to suffer. But don't worry, as the savior is also a Korean, who has been slacking off in the first 11.5 episodes but immediately becomes the strongest as she is awakened. I guess both Satan and Lucifer have to die in the writer's pen, not to mention these lust demons. Well, that's all for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to watching the second season with you guys.